Spotify continues to be wrapped up in controversy as some of the artists that are on their platform put the pressure on them to regulate Joe Rogan, more specifically the guests that Joe Rogan has been showcasing. Now, you know that a lot of these guests tend to be outspoken voices when it comes to the established narrative regarding this pandemic. A lot of these guests are offering a counter view, which to me is a healthy thing. You know, I don't know. I guess I come from a generation where when I was a kid, there was a show on that used to be called Donahue, right? And one of the things that struck me about Donahue, which was a talk show, it was in the afternoons before Oprah, and Donahue used to showcase all types of extreme opinions. He would actually put them on his stage and talk to them. Back then, which was probably the 80s, I don't know if he went back to the 70s or not, but definitely in the 80s, I believe it was. You could do that without people actually confusing you with endorsing the message of whoever was on that panel. So I remember specifically what stuck out in my mind, that he would showcase sometimes Ku Klux Klan people. And they would come on and they would talk about their ideology. It would get fiery. Then he would have the audience have a go at it, and the audience would have their say. And sometimes you would end up being very, very mad watching that. But I remember thinking to myself, this is actually very healthy. It's healthy to see what else is out there and to listen, and you have a better understanding of what's going on. Even if you don't agree with what these people are saying, I felt that it always made you more intelligent to actually know that there are different perspectives out there that you're free to disagree or to agree with. I always thought that that was pretty much the case. But, you know, fast forward something like 20, 30, 40 years, somehow we've lost the ability to be able to do that, to be able to trust each other, to process the information that we see on TV. You know, and one of the things that I always tell my son, you know, ever since he was old enough to sit in front of a TV, I said, son, probably about 99.9% of what you see on TV is not real. I think most parents, we're used to being able to point that out to our kids. Like if they're in front of something that is scary, if they're, you know, something is like disturbing them, the first thing you'll say is easy, Allison. It's not real. It's all make believe. Okay, so I took that one step further. I told them even what you see on the news, most of it is not true. Hell, the weather report, most of the time they can't even get that right. They're just going by the information that's been given to them. Most of them are reading off of a script. That trusted voice of the media thing is all bullshit. It always has been with respects to Walter Cronkite. I think that's probably the closest we ever came to that. You know, that was a long time ago, well before my time, well before a lot of y'all's time, but it did exist, you know, that image of the trusted voice of the media. So, like I said, now we find ourselves in a situation where people want to regulate the information that you get for no other reason, I have to believe, than they're trying to control our thoughts. And I think that this is a dangerous way to go. And I want to talk about this in the context of the whole Spotify controversy, because that's what we're seeing here. We're seeing that we've lost the ability to trust each other, to process different and varying opinions, and we're just open to just being manipulated, you know, and we're impressionable, like little babies again, where we can't choose what it is that we're supposed to believe. So let's talk about this, guys. This is The Gospel According to Mark with a C. He is I and I am he. Just taking some time to tell you exactly what's on my mind. Thank you for joining me once again, my friends. And you know, we've been hearing about this now for a while. You had Neil Young. I talked about that on this channel, where Neil Young said, you will choose between my music and Joe Rogan's podcast. All right, he put it out there. You can have Rogan or you can have Young, but you can't have both. And then, of course, this has caused a tidal wave of other artists, you know, a lot of them pretty old in the game. I'm still waiting to hear if there's going to be any rappers or R&B artists, because that's when I'm really going to go in. If I find out that there's some fucking rappers or R&B artists who are jumping on this bandwagon, and there's going to be some fire up in this bitch. But anyway, most recently, Spotify has decided they're going to stick with Joe Rogan because, of course, he's the biggest podcaster in the fucking world. You know what I mean? He's bringing them all types of revenue. And, of course, at the heart of it all, for average people like you and I mean, for Spotify, I'm sure it just comes down to that bottom line, which is the money, even though reports say that they're losing money as a result of losing Neil Young and some other artists. Yeah, I think they'll be okay. You know what I mean? But, I mean, that was to be expected anyway. But I think that, what was I going to say? I was going to say that it's important, right, for Spotify, right, on the face of it, for the average people to protect the concept of free speech. All right, but to me, it's also about the ability of free thought, the ability to choose how you feel about something based upon your conscience. Because the way I see it, guys, just on a religious standpoint, if you believe in this, God, we were all born with freedom of choice. If you're a Christian, right, or a Muslim or a Jew, and you read your holy book, the information is there. You can choose whether or not you're going to believe it. You can choose whether or not you're going to live by those standards. And if you don't, let's say you go against the 10 Commandments and you start killing people. Thou shalt not kill. You start killing people. Well, in a land of law and order, that could be your end as well as whoever it is that you're trying to end. So you get the information. You choose to believe it. If you believe that there's a God and a spirit in the sky, that God is not going to physically come down or over or up and stop you. It's your choice what you choose to do. So if you believe that there is a higher power, that God created us all, even that higher power doesn't stop you from making your own choices in life. You know what I mean? If I choose to pick my ear, I could do that. I could puncture my eardrum. It could be something harmful to me. If I choose to touch the stove or put something metal inside of a light socket, I could do that. The higher power is not going to stop me. So we're born with that. But for some reason today, we seem to think that we have to stop other people from influencing possibly other people. I grew up at a time when you could listen to all types of conspiracy theories. You could watch all types of videos on YouTube and everything. And you would have to choose, whether you feel like this is some bullshit, whether it's something you can listen to. And we were okay. We were okay through all of those times. You never saw anything crazy happen. You might have some psycho, who goes out and commits a crime based upon something that they saw online. Everybody gets all riled up or something. They commit a hate crime because they're so used to seeing shit on the media and they're mad about something. That's what's going on today. Everybody's mad about something, but you don't see them holding the media accountable for that. And I've always said the media probably should be held accountable. The media probably owes reparations to everyone in our society for the way they manipulate our sensibilities. I've always said that. But we all have the choice on our actions and our reactions based upon what we've seen. So I can't help but call bullshit on all of this that I see as far as these artists who are coming out. I mean, these artists have shared platforms with each other for a long time. So the implication is here that you agree with everything every other artist says, and I can't take it seriously because as a black man, as a young black man or young black boy who was growing up, just about everything in my pop culture, everything that's in pop culture that's geared towards black people is self-destructive. Just about everything you can name. That's not saying that it is everything and there's no exceptions. Of course there are, but everything it seems that's big money makers tends to be something that is not good for the self-esteem of black people. And it's not hard to tell when you see the way that we treat each other, when you see the way that we are in relationships, when you see that we have the problems of self-esteem that we have, when you see the divorce rates. There's a lot that's wrong with the way that we see each other and the way that we love each other. And I'm convinced that a lot of it has to do with the programming that we're subjected to from the day that we're born. So you look at the movies and you look at the videos and you look at the music that we're subjected to. I never saw any of these motherfuckers come out to object to that, to sharing radio airtime with that, and that includes black artists as well. not just white artists. That's the reason why I said I'm waiting to see what R&B artists or rap artists are going to say about this. For all of the years that we've been fucking each other up, that we've been putting negative, sexist, just self-hateful messages into our own community, I want to see if there's any of us who will come out and try to protest Joe Rogan and his message and the message of the guests that we have. And you can't say, well, it's just a matter of people getting hurt and lives being at stake. I already did a video talking about how there have been more black children who have been killed by gun violence in Chicago and plenty of other places than there will ever be dying of COVID. I don't see anybody who's coming out to say, well, maybe it has something to do with their culture and their pop culture and what they're ingesting and what they're feeding their children and all of that stuff. It only goes so far, it seems. So when I see them trying to put a silence on differing voices when it comes to scientific issues, especially today in the middle of this pandemic, where people are they're making billions of dollars off of this on one side of it, and go figure, it happens to be the side of it that's actually pushing the jab, that's making billions off of the jab that we're supposed to actually give a voice to. And anybody on the other side of that that's critical or analytical of the jab and all of these mandates and everything that they're coming up with and the safety of it all, anyone who's on that side of it, oh, it's interesting. You're not supposed to listen to them. You're supposed to silence them. All these musical voices are threatening to pull their music over those voices. Very interesting. So you have the industry on this side, the multi-billion dollar industry on this side, and then you have the voice of the commoner on this side with real concerns. Yet these rockers, who have always been supposed to have been, representatives of rebellion and the voice of the common man, they're on the side of the industry. You know what I'm saying? You see how that works? And these are still the same voices who never said shit to me, okay, just looking from my perspective, about all of the self-destructive imagery and messages and messaging that my son and children around my neighborhood are subjected to every day. No, they're not speaking out about that. They haven't spoken out about that in any real critical way. And I wouldn't expect them to. You know why? Because we all have a choice. I had a choice when I was growing up. My father had a choice. He talked to me all the time about that. He had 10 brothers. Most of them fell by the wayside. My uncles, but we all have choices. That's the reason why I wouldn't make a big deal trying to censor anybody, because if that's what they're doing to make money. It's fucked up. The people are exploiting these things. But at the end of the day, I do have a choice. And I've made my choice. I've made my choice to be a lawful, as respectful as possible person who is trying to raise a son to be the same way, and trying to influence others to be the same way. It's my choice, and I'm proud of the choices that I've made. But what I don't respect are people who don't give me the respect of being able to make that choice. And that's what we have today. We have to realize that these people who are out here are the enemies of free will and the enemies of free choice. They try to make it seem like these people don't know better, so we have to do the thinking for them. And we actually don't step back and say, wait a minute, I have a brain. I have a mind. I want to hear both sides. It's like when you go into high school, the first day of high school, and somebody runs up on you and says, don't listen to them. Don't be their friend. They're this, they're that, they're this. A wise person, a smart person knows that you have to make up your mind for yourself. It's like also movie reviews. You listen to movie reviews and they'll tell you that a movie is the best thing on earth. I don't know what the movie might be, The Last Jedi maybe. And they'll tell you this is a classic. This is great. There's something wrong with you if you don't like it. Well, you have the ability to say what you like and what you thought of that movie. And then they'll turn around and call you alt-right. They'll call you racist and sexist. That's the day that we're living in. That's why I've always said that this is bigger than Star Wars, because I saw it coming. Thought control, population control. It's all about control. That's what it is. So when you see people like Neil Young and Joni Mitchell and all of these people coming out now who are doing this, to me, They're outing themselves. They're giving you a who's who in the world of thought and population control. Because that's all they're doing. They're not any smarter than the rest of us. If I want to hear what somebody else has to say, that should be there for me to do that. The internet is becoming a scary place because people are being shut down. People are being taken off platforms. You can't just have one way of thinking, but that's what's going on. And it's a scary, scary thing. People need to wake the fuck up. When we get to a time where you can't see differing opinions and viewpoints, you know that you lost your freedom. And that's where we're heading very quickly right now. So, once again, you have all of these celebrities and singers and musicians and on-air personalities. All of these people are traitors to freedom, and they need to be identified as such. This is not a harmless thing. This is not something to be applauded. You have a brain, a working brain inside of your mind, and you must use it. You must be trusted to use it. It's your responsibility to use it. You can't be that fucking lazy where you can lean on somebody else to do the thinking and the presenting of truth for you and lies for you. You can't trust anyone more than you can trust yourself. And if you find yourself in a situation where you are doing that, then you've lost yourself and you've lost your freedom. That's the reason why I am not impressed with all of these artists and musicians and all that shit who's out here trying to take a stand against Joe Rogan. Because once they silence Joe Rogan, guess what? They're really trying to silence those people that he's showcasing. Okay, so they'll move on to somebody else and it'll be somebody else's turn. This is not really about Joe Rogan. This is the reason why I have my videos taken down off of YouTube. And other people have too, who are much more educated than I am. Don't wait till it comes to you. Okay, it's time, guys. Like I said before, this is the trial of our generation. We can't let it get past us because you see they're working on our kids every day. And our kids trust us. And every day could be our last. So make it count. All right, guys, that's it. Video's pretty damn long. All right, that's enough. I'll talk to you later. Okay, you can get in the comment section. Let me know how you feel about this. Like, share, subscribe, and catch me on Odyssey, Rumble, Twitter. I'm out there, guys. Thank you for listening. This is The Gospel According to Mark with a C. Rock on.